Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Soll ich in Deutsch oder in Englisch sprechen? Wer versteht kein Englisch? Alle verstehen Englisch? I'll stick to English. I could have, it would have been easy in German if you would have told me before, then I would memorize the class in English. So now I would have to translate for myself. So first we're reading from, what is it, Transcendental Diary. I think this is volume 4, Sri Vrindavan Dham. Then Srila Prabhupada spoke from his own experience. Sometimes I think, amid nothing this material world, and again retired in Vrindavan. Again, Krishna, you have given so many things. What is the purpose? At that time, I remember Srila Rupa Goswami's instruction. This is not mine. This is Krishna's. Nibandha Krishna Sabandha Yuktam Viragya. We experience so much energy to construct a temple. But as soon as we become implicated, now I have got this big building, let me live very comfortably. Then this is very dangerous. So long we work for Krishna, it's Krishna's. I'm still nothing. And as soon as I take it, oh, I have got a very good, comfortable place. Make me again something. Take that is very dangerous. Otherwise there's no danger. Therefore, we have to be engaged always in Krishna's service. Not that because we have got this nice building and income also, let us now sit down and eat. Then you will stop. You shall have to be engaged always because our brain is materialistic. As soon as there's little chance of utilizing it for sense gratification, mind says, yes, yes, do it. Still, we have to do it. Rupa Goswami, Hari Sambandha Vastuna. Things which are concerned to Krishna, you should never think that it is material, it is spiritual. Then he then asked Ishwar Chandra that what his ambition was. There must be something. Why you're sticking to that company? There must be some ambition. For a long moment, Ishwar Chandra said nothing. He seemed to have no real reason. Finally, he said that he wanted to take care of his family. Prabhupada continued to pierce to his consciousness. So how you can take care with nothing? Krishna makes you nothing. Then how you can take of your family? The things I have explained. That we have got so many means against struggle for existence, but that is not final. Tatvat tanu pritam ishva viprekshinam. If there is no sanction from Krishna, you cannot do it. It is impossible. If Krishna does not like you to be implicated in that way, then that is false, then how you can do it? You are thinking that I shall take care of my family. But if Krishna wants you to take care of your families, then how will you do it? You can do it against the will of Krishna. You can understand at least this. It is not very much advanced. You cannot go against the will of Krishna. So you have tried for the last 1.5 years, you could not improve your material situation. That means you are going against the will of Krishna. Take it from me. He asked Ishwara Chandra how many children he had. He said he had 4. Prabhupada added further, way to his argument. Everything is discussed in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Kripana, Brahmana, Kripana, Travineha. He knows that one bacha, baby, has given me so much trouble. Illicit or legal, it is troublesome business. Otherwise, why these Americans and Europeans are killing their own child? They don't want to have the botheration. So it is botheration. There's no doubt about it. The Bhagavatam says, Trapani Neha Kripana. What is the meaning of Kripana? Do you know? Miser. Miser. What is the meaning of miser? Yes, we have got this something, human form of body, to develop Krishna consciousness. Instead of doing that, in spite of processing this something, I'm utilizing it for sense gratification. If you want sense gratification, that's all right. Get one child, two child, why again and again? Therefore, Shastra says Kripani Neha Kripana, because he is Kripana, he is never satisfied. He's suffering again another child, again another child. All right, you have got two child, one child, that's all right. Be satisfied. Why again and again? The Kripana, he does not know how to utilize his assets of human life. He's wasting the assets in a different way. One has to become Brahmana. So opposite of Brahma, Kripana is Brahmana. Brahma, Bhuta, Pasamatma. That is wanted. We are also giving Brahmana's position. Instead of taking the Brahmana position, if he wants to again take Kripana position, then what is the use of being initiated? All these great sages, saintly persons, who were they? They were all Brahmanas. Sukadev Goswami is addressed Brahmana. Is it not? That is Brahmana's business. It is not the Kripana's business. Kripana's business means that he does not know how to utilize the asset. Prabhupada looked at the disciple compassionately. With a soft voice, he spoke straightforwardly, but no softening of this reality. It is my duty to speak the truth. So now you can do whatever you like. Give him prasada. Ishwara Chandra continued to listen attentively to Prabhupada, continued to dwell in the business of family life. Of course, it is very difficult, it's itching. We have got practical experience. When there is some itching, we cannot stop. We cannot stop it, even if you do not want it. It's still. So it is like itching, nothing more. Kamo sumera kansa vacha dukkha dukkara. The tapasya means how to control this itching sensation. That is tapasya. Tamasa means brahmachari. Tapasya brahmacharina semadamena trakena satya chaubyam jamena niyamena. That is tapasya. It is very strong power. Therefore, Bhagavatam said that this power, sex power, is there in the hawks. They have no discrimination between mother, sister, daughter, and simply busy. The example is given. This capacity is there in the hawk. Are you hawk? Our example is given. Do you like to remain like hawk? One should be saintly, yes. Then where is the difference? I'm a human being. I'm treating like hawk. Therefore, this very example. This is for the hawks. The hawk civilization is going on as human civilization. What is the difficulty? Whole world is hawks and dogs, big, big United Nations. And what an assembly, hawks and dogs. The politicians, as soon as they get some time for relax, immediately he become hawks. Go to the hotel, prostitute and drink and dance. Is it not? Prabhupada laughed at the idea. All politicians, you become big, big hawk. That's all. Without becoming politician, a small hawk. Because you have political, big hawk. So how you can expect prosperity from those big hawks? After all, hawks, what benefit you can derive from the assembly of hawks? United Nations, United Hawks, you cannot expect his hawk. Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Okay, today's sloka, not so easy. I'll try here that it's split into 4 pieces. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 9, The Appearance of Vitrasura, text 43. Right? Ataiva swayam chat upakala payala makam Bhagavata Paramagurustra Charina Sata Palasakchayam vividha vidya samsara Parishramamupasasamanim vayam yat kaminupasarita. Okay, any one of you? Was? Sakyam tat upakala pala yamasakam Bhagavata paramaguru stat sata Palasachayam vidihara vidya samsara Ladies? Bhagavati? You can read it in Sanskrit. Ataiva sakyam tadupakalapayasmakam Bhagavata paramagurustatva chairana satya Alright. Word for word. Tat eva, therefore. Swayam, yourself. Tat, that. Upakalapaya, please arrange. Asmakam, of us. Bhagavataha, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Paramaguru, the Supreme Spiritual Master. Tava, of you. Charanya, of the feet. Satapalasat, like lotus flowers with hundreds of petals. Chayam, the shade. Vividha, various. Vrijna, with dangerous positions. Samsara, of this conditioned life. Parisrama, the pain. Upasamananim, relieving. Upasratanam, the devotees have taken shelter at your lotus feet. Vayam, we. Yat, for which. Kamena, by the desires. Upasadita, caused to come near the shelter of your lotus feet. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Dear Lord, you are omniscient, and therefore you know very well why we have taken shelter at your lotus feet, which provides shade that gives relief from all material disturbances. Since you are the supreme spiritual master, you know everything. We have sought shelter of your lotus feet for your instruction. Please give us relief by counteracting our present distress. Your lotus feet are the only shelter for fully surrendered devotee, and they are the only means for subduing all the tribulations of this material world. Purport. One need only to seek shelter of the shade of the Lord's lotus feet. Then all material tribulations that disturb him will be subdued. Just as when one comes under the shadow of a big tree, the disturbances caused by the heat of the scorching sun are immediately mitigated, without one's asking for relief. Therefore, the whole concern of the conditioned soul should be the lotus feet of the Lord. The conditioned soul suffering from various tribulations because of existing in this material world can be relieved only when one takes shelter at the Lord's lotus feet. So, the chapter Appearance of the Demon Vritrasura starts, I think, in the beginning of the chapter. Vishvarupa was hired by the demigods to do a sacrifice, and that sacrifice was meant to give good fortune and keep the demigods in their position. So he was a special personality. He was not like us. He had 3 heads, and one head was for food, and one was for somaras from the heavenly planets, and one was for wine. So surprisingly, I thought. And at the same time, he had a constant flow of Vedic hymns coming out of his 3 mouths. So due to that extensive knowledge, and due to the potency of chanting mantras from his 3 mouths, so he was engaged as a Yajna Brahmin by the demigods. So he had, I think the father was from the line of the demigods, whereas his mother was from a line of the demoniac family. So while he was engaged by the demigods, most probably, I wouldn't say paid, but engaged by the demigods, and most probably was receiving charity from the demigods, because his mother was from a demoniac family. At the side, he was also, maybe with one mouth, sometimes chanting the names of the demons, so that a part of the power of the yajna was also going to them. So that's how everything started. Indra is a very notorious personality, as we know, and he got quickly angry, and he cut his head off. I guess all 3 heads off, whatever. It says head there, but actually there were 3. So now he had killed a brahmana. For that he got 4 different sins, which he was counteracting. And after 1 year constantly doing all sorts of efforts to counteract the sins, he decided to give them away. He gives them, I think, to the land, to the ocean, to the tree, and to the woman, and they all got a benefit, and they all got a trouble from that. And now the problem was that Vishnu was as a father, and the father was very upset. My very beautiful and beloved son is killed by Indra, so he he engaged another brahmana to make a yagya and to create an enemy of Indra. And a very slight deviation in the mantra, and even if you speak in English language, at the first it looks like it's the same thing. He was supposed to create an enemy of Indra, but he created somebody whose enemy is Indra. It sounds the same, but it is not. It's like if you're peacefully sitting there and I'm becoming your enemy, that means you have the trouble. On the other hand, if you become my enemy, so I'm having the trouble. So he became the enemy of Indra. And out of this yagya, this Vritrasura came out. So he was a very big and fierce demon. So today we're at the point when the demigods realized, I think that they even approached and tried to fight with him, and all their soldiers, everyone was just killed. They realized that they have no chance against this big person, and so what they're doing, being the demigods, and here it becomes interesting, and then today they start now to pray to Narayan, they start to pray to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, they also prayed before, right? They're the demigods. But they didn't really pray that much. So we see that there's different type of devotees. You have Akama and you have Swakama devotees. So one variety of devotees, and today when we were reading, Srila Prabhupada was preaching that devotee who had 4 children and who was trying to set up a business and the business was not picking up, and Prabhupada says this is fertile. You stop with that, infertile. You just surrender to Krishna. And the person said, and Prabhupada could see the hesitancy. So he said, then how is your business and how many children are you having? And then Srila Prabhupada, when the person was still not surrendering, then he took the form of the heavy side of the spiritual master, and he chastised him. Who told you to have 4 children in the first place? You suffered from the first, from the second, from the third, and still now you have child number 4, and business is not running, and so why are you not surrendering to Krishna? So the demigods, they're in the heavenly planets. They all are devotees. That means they all are convinced, and they all in a way surrendering unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But a deeper surrender only comes when they're in trouble. We see Indra, we're thinking Indra is a name. Indra is not a name. Indra is a position, like you become the prime minister. You know, in the material world, people are making a lot of effort. They start in the, political use in some political party, and they work their way up and work their way up and do all sorts of maneuvers, and their whole life is focused on that. And then finally they reach that position on top. And then what is next? Once you're on top, then next is the constant worry that you have to come down again. I'm always saying it's a little bit like you climb Everest. First you're in the base camp, you have party and everything, you wait, and then you climb up, and when you're up there, then the oxygen is very less, and it is not a very easy position. So what comes next when you're on top? There's no way you can climb further than Everest. When you're on the peak, you're on the peak. So up is not an option. Staying is very difficult. So the actual only what will have to come is that you have to step down eventually. Now, how much long you want to hold on? You see some maybe you don't want to read it. The person in Russia or China, they have fixed themselves on top, or North Korea, and they decided, that's it, I'm the king of this place now. But then ultimately you can't stay there forever. Eventually death will take you down. So this is Swakama. There is a nice story about that from Ram Lila. Ram had a bell, it's a king's palace, there's a bell, and I think there was a certain time, and you can go there, you can ring the bell, and then the minister comes out, he asks, what is your problem? You can give your problem. So one day the dog was ringing the bell, and everyone's surprised, so called in the dog, and the dog said the Brahmana beat me with a stick, and I was laying like a dog are laying around, and he wanted to go, and there was a dispute, and so eventually he chased me away. I'm not happy with that. So the Brahmana was called. Brahmana, finally, it looked like the Brahmana was the guilty party, so Ramachandra asked the dog, so what punishment do you want for him? He said, make him the head of the mud. So that seems to be a surprise. He gets a real upgrade. And then so, what is the punishment in that? So the dog said, well, that was me last life. So, because if you have the bad mentality as a Brahmana, where you're thinking you're better than others, and you become the head of the mud, then without the dog cursing him, all the other Brahmanas will curse him to become a dog. So ultimately, he made the point that you have to be very careful if you're the head of an institution. Particularly, you have to be more careful if you have to be the head of a devotional institution, or if you be the head of the mud of the Brahmanas, because they can actually curse you. And the karmis, what they will curse, what power it will have, but the Brahmanas will have. So here, in reality, the demigods and the demons, it seems, are not so different. Because the demigods hired Vishvaruk to do the yajna, and the demons also wanted a share thereof. That means they were also knowing that doing yajna and getting a share of the power of the yajna is good for them. It is not that they're totally faceless. We can see, I think, one of the top demons from the Bhagavatam, Hiranyakashipu, he did tapasya, extreme tapasya. Who can do that much? He stood on one leg, the hands up for ages. His body turned into bones only, and the life air was only sustained in the bones. And then he created such a heat, and so Brahma had to give him a boon. But what boon was it? He just wanted to be a powerful fellow, that's all. Ultimately, he was a devotee and the Lord, and he wanted to fight, and he chose one of him, Giant Vijay. It's a long story, but we see, so the difference is technically it's that the demigods are always submissive to the Lord, and that the demons are not submissive to the Lord, and ultimately are envious of the Lord. So it is a big step from being demoniac and faceless, like most of the civilization is this day, to taking shelter of the Lord in whatever form. Srila Prabhupada even say, let them be good Christians as long as they don't eat meat, because they are taking shelter of the Lord. But he very much condemns the idea which is given here, is that, our daily bread and shelter and whatever. The Lord, use the Lord as an order supplier. So the Swakama devotees, even they're praying here to Lord Narayan, and they're sincerely praying. Today's sloka says that all material disturbances will be relieved from the person who's taking shelter of the Lord. Because same like the sun, here it is not so hot usually. In India it can be very hot. And if you find a shade-giving tree, it is a very great relief. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to open the umbrella or have to do something. You get under the tree, you get relief. The tree is already there. So here, if you pray to the Lord, then the umbrella automatically opens. You don't have to do further activity. So many times, let's take examples that people have started worshipping the Lord, and then they get confronted with great misery. Then they lose faith in the Lord because they're thinking that I have surrendered and I have given money, time, mind, emotion. I have given something to the Lord, and why this is not reciprocating? Why I'm actually gotten in trouble? Many devotees uh, left or definitely downgraded their surrender into Krishna and Krishna consciousness. I've seen it recently in Delhi. Was a devotee, was a very powerful and very rich man, and he was very devoted. And then, due to whatever circumstances, his son died very untimely. And that disturbed him so much. It's not like he became a kami, but his interest in devotional service, he felt so much hurt. Why the Lord is doing that to him? So we have to be very careful if we are using the Lord as the order supplier, and then the Lord is not supplying, then we would feel that the Lord is rather not powerful enough to provide me, or we're thinking maybe he don't like me, and he's always thinking our prayer is not powerful. There's many varieties in that thing. Today in the Transcendental Diaries, a man was having a business and nothing was coming. So Srila Prabhupada said, if nothing is coming, it is true that Krishna don't want to give you anything. So, but you might think that is bad. It is like when we are leaving home and we keep the matchbox away, so the kids maybe being upset. He said they want to play with the matchbox, but the idea is that they don't get hurt. So when it's a double thing. First of all, we're only getting what we're deserving, which we have created in past lives. At the same time, even if we may deserve something, and Krishna sees that it's a big obstacle in our devotional service, he'll take it away. And we have to always remember there's anatas. Anatas are unwanted things which are hampering our devotional service, and they come in many varieties, but basically there are two varieties. They're split in two. One variety is anatas, which have been created by impious activity. And that's relatively simple. I go downstairs, these guys are drinking a beer or something, and I feel like drinking a beer. I immediately understand this is really bad. It's obvious. And when the other devotees would see me sitting there, that's the end. That's the end of whatever. But then also there are anatas which come from pious activities. And that is like I'm sitting on the Vyasa-san. I've done some pious activities. I studied in my last life, so I'm a good speaker. So for you things, hey, the guy he's knowing the Bhagavatam, he can speak, and I may think, hey, and the moment I develop pride on that, then that is not good for me, because pride, when I'm identifying myself with this body and this karma, that is not good for me. Or other people are wealthy, you have a lot of money, and you may be very charitable also to the temple. But then you start, I want Supanya Sabji on Sunday, and why the deities are not wearing a red dress, you use that money and you try to influence, and you may be even thinking you're owning the temple. We have seen that many times. So, very beautiful. Somebody is very beautiful, very handsome, very learned. These are things which come from past lives, pious activities. But if I'm not using them, as again Prabhupada said here, if I'm not using this, what I've been given in Krishna's service, they turn into an anatta. And they're, in a sense, much more difficult to detect and given up in ourselves than gross anattas, because gross anattas are leading to gross fall down, and we can easily understand that this is wrong and this is not good. And we have to we know we have to check ourselves. But if you're very beautiful, what you will do? You are beautiful, and constantly people will look at you and appreciate you. If you're very wealthy, if you're very intelligent, people will appreciate that constantly. So to take that down is much more complicated than this. So here these demigods are praying to Lord Narayan, but what they're praying for? You know? Much later that comes when finally Indra is slaying Vritrasura. There's a lot of lessons to be learned. Dahichi has to give his bones. That is similar to what Prabhupada said here. He is fully sacrificing, as we're saying. We're in devotional service, we're supposed to sacrifice our body for the service of the Lord. Dahichi is bringing it to the ultimate points, because as an answer, when the Lord is giving the answer, the demigods are praying. What they're praying for? They're asking what we should do now. They're asking, we have sought shelter at your lotus feet for instruction, it says in today's sloka. So what will be in the instruction? The instruction is, ask Dahichi Muni for his bones, from his bones, Raja? What is his name? This Indra's Vrajra. I'm always pronouncing him. Vrajra. And this Vrajra will be able to kill this demon Vritrasura. So Dahichi says, okay, take my body, make your weapon. So he's fully surrendering his body on the spot. But then, I love that so much, that part which comes later. Then Vritrasura says, okay, Indra, you have it. You kill me now. You enjoy. Sit on your throne as long as you can do. Enjoy it. Develop the mentality as an enjoyer. I'll go back. I leave this body. I'll go back to God, and I'll be with the Lord. You be here in this material world. Sit on your throne of Indra and have your fun as Indra. But keep in mind, that's not forever. Where is where I'm going. So it's a very interesting dialogue which comes later on, and that is the thing here, that we have to be careful, because we are all devotees, and we're trying our best to become devotees, but Prabhupada says here, ultimately tapasya. This world is made for tapasya. I don't know how much tapasya everyone can do or not do, and ultimately tapasya means is to control the mind, to remember Krishna and never forget. That is the actual tapasya. Whatever we do in between, we can help it or not help it. It's a complicated thing, but it is a great step, that whenever we have trouble, we look to the Lord and we pray for relief. That is definitely a great sign. And the next step is what we're praying in Shishastakam every morning. If you're visible before me, or you make me broken-hearted, whatever you do, oh Lord, just do it. I will still fully devoted to you. So even if I'm getting the Vrajra, or I'm not getting, I'll be Indra, I'll not be Indra, whatever might happen, I will not give up your shelter. Because this praying for shelter can be very helpful, but it also always gives the danger of that when we're not getting the shelter, when we're not getting the result which we prayed for, that then we will be not satisfied with the Lord, and then we will get something of a slight ill feeling towards the Lord, and that would hurt our devotional service. So we have to always try to be favorable, anukulena, to the Lord, and not pratikulena. Our service has to be always favorable and shouldn't be a disturbance to others and to the Lord. So that is, I think, enough for this sloka. If anyone has a comment or anyone has a question, that would be very much appreciated.
Brahmana Vishvarupa, one had drinking wine. How is it possible as a Brahmana drinking wine?
Well, I thought the same thing immediately. But the head was for drinking wine. That doesn't mean he drank all the wine all the time, right? So we see Lord Indra is getting cursed by this nice, friendly person, Indra. Then he's given it to us, right? You're suffering, I don't know, maybe it stopped. The girls are suffering every month because of Indra killing Vishwarup, because they're having a period. And the land is suffering of having deserts, the water is suffering of having bubbles, and the trees are suffering that the sap gets taken out. Jai. Sisi Vijay Gauranga Dalanitai ki Jai, Sila Prabhupada ki Jai. So yes, when I when I thought about this by preparing the class, I remembered that. I remembered the wine. I was also disturbed. So, but see, we cannot always see. You think the guys down here they get drunk. Yesterday we had the window open, very uncomfortable. But after he drank wine, he was chanting the Vedic mantras out of his three mouths. So he's a good. I have no explanation. I was hoping that question will not come because it came in my mind also, and I was knowing. And the answer I had prepared is that he also was chanting the Vedic hymns constantly from all three mouths. So hey, he must have known some mantras to purify from his drinking wine as well. I couldn't say more to that. Wine is bad. When you read the deity worship book, even if you could cook meat in a pot, afterwards it can be purified. And again, you can use it for cooking, for sanctified item. If the pot has touched with wine, there's only one thing. You can throw it away. So it is highly contaminated. And yes, doesn't sound like a good thing, but that's what the Bhagavatam is saying. So on higher levels, things are a little different than down here. We have to see the demigods, their functioning with mantra. So mantra is the thing. Whereas when you go below the earthly planets, particularly the subterranean hellish planets, they're all functioning with yantra. So since he's chanting mantras, so he was very helpful. And today we're getting help from different, we're getting help from down, you know. You have like a Maya Danava or something, the powerful demons, they can create salva, you know. He was having a machine which was flying in the sky and was attacking on Krishna. He had a yantra, you know. So the machines, they come from low. So he was chanting mantras. He was chanting mantras that good that the demigods were employing him to chant for them. And he was that important that when he gave a little bit of that to the demons, and Indra got that angry that he cut his head off, or heads off. So I guess that drinking wine wasn't a great disturbance in his service. Satisfied? Not really. I'm also deep inside not satisfied. Any other question or comment?
Yeah, Ravana was also Brahma drinking wine.
Yes. Yes. See, there you get it. And Ravana was doing many things. He was killing the kings and capturing the queens and keep him in his palace. He was trying to rape Sita in a sense, only because he had been cursed. You have to keep, he used to rape those women, and then one powerful woman had cursed him that if you do this one more time, this is my curse, if you do this one more time against the woman's will, then you die. If not, he would have raped Sita, but because he was cursed, he tried to seduce her. He was knowing that's the only way. If I do this, if I do it by force, the curse, he was fearing the curse. I will die, so he tried to seduce her. So he was a bad man. Not only he was drinking wine, but yes, he was very well versed in the Vedic scriptures, and he was doing yagyas. What he was not all doing was powerful. But then, when the envy starts on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we want Lakshmi. Basically, Lakshmi comes as Lakshmi direct, and Lakshmi comes in the form of opulence and wealth. When we want that without having the permission, then the demoniac program starts. And that is dangerous, because the demigods also have that desire for opulence, for position, for sense enjoyment. They're having a nice time up there. If we're not serious, then we also go there. Prabhupada said that most of my devotees will go there. There is no harm being there, but obviously when you come back down here, after you see, if you come back from hell and you got beaten and chastised and roasted and whatnot, all, you're a little bit, you feel a little bit like putting the brake when you come back here, But when you come from there and you enjoy it like anything, so once you drop down back here, that enjoying spirit will be very prominent. So we have to be careful. Okay? Anyone else? Jai Gantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Srimad Prabhupada ki Jai, ISKCON Köln Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai.